Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover video of the Swift Voyager 584. So located on the driver's step, if you pull this cover off in the cab, you've got the location of your tyre inflation kit. So if you get a flat tyre, this will blow your tyre up. You've also got the gel pack. The gel will fill a puncture. However, if you put the gel in and they can fix the tyre, once this gel is in, your tyre does need replacing, so it's best to always try and fill it with air first and limp it to the tyre repair centre without putting this in. Otherwise you will be replacing a tyre where you could get a puncture repair on a tyre cheaper. You've also got your lock and wheel nut and your key code in here, which sits in there. So you might want to pop that into your glove box. But that is where you would find your tyre inflation kit and your lock and wheel nut on a Ford Transit Swift. So to open your gas locker, using your habitation key, you'll be able to unlock the two locks. Then push both in and you'll be able to open the door. In here, you can fit two 6 kilogram propane bottles on board this model. So this is our test bottle to show you your gas appliances working throughout this video. What you want to do is, when you get the bottle on, before you connect the pigtail, as this bottle isn't staying on, you would put the gas strap around the bottle. So this goes through here, pulls down on the centre of the bottle over where you connect your cylinder to, and you would strap the other end to the small strap that's on the floor. Make sure it's securely tightened before travelling. And then what you want to do is, once you've got that on, you want to connect your pigtail. So to connect your pigtail, which is this pipe here, it's left to tighten, right to loosen, opposite ways with the main gas. Put this on first, then connect your pigtail. Then use a gas spanner or adjustable wrench and just nip this up before turning the bottle on. Once you've turned the cylinder on, press the black button here. This is a crash valve. The gas won't leave the bottle until you've pressed this button in. So press it in for 10 seconds, it allows the gas in, and then your gas will start to come through into the vehicle. If this one ever goes off, which is your second motion crash valve, it's a 10-second reset on the yellow nib. Press and hold and you'll be able to reset your gas coming through into the motorhome. Make sure that both bottles are tied in. Make sure this bottle's turned off when connected before travelling, and you've got a reserve so you can fit two 6s in here, so you've always got spare gas if one bottle does become empty. To hook the vehicle up, whether you're charging it on a site or at home, get your hooker blade, lift the collar, lift the flap on the van, slide it over. Always hook the van up first, then the site or your house if you're home charging, and do it in reverse order when unhooking so that you're never walking around with a live lead. Here you have your external shower point. So this is a connection for your external shower. So it connects on here. On the other end of the gun, you've got a trigger gun. You can hose the dog off, the bikes, the boots, but you do need to make sure that the water pump on your main control panel is turned on to get a pressurized flow of water from this point. To fill the vehicle with water, again using the habitation key, you've got a lockable cap, so you can lock and unlock this cap. Remove it, get your hose pipe with some hose pipe fittings, as it's mainly just a brass tap provided by the site. Loose end of the hose into here. Fill it until it overflows or until you're happy there's enough water on board, which you can see on your main control panel. If for whatever what reason you can't get the hose to the vehicle, you do have the ability to put it in by a pump. So there's a little pump point here. You just need to flick this cap off, which is quite tight. That's your power. 12 volt, one end in here, the other end into the bucket of water, and it'll suck the water from the container into your main freshwater tank. Then you put your cap on and lock it to stop other people tampering with your water. So on the back of the 584, you do have a garage. So you've got tethering points on the floor, 12 volt lighting on either side, large storage area which is heated by the heating system through the duct here. You've got in the corner USBs, 12 volt and 240 volt for charging. So if you get electric bikes or anything like that, you can charge the batteries in the back, as long as you're on hookup. For mains, because the mains plugs will only work when the vehicle's hooked up. 12 volt when you're not hooked up. On the back of the vehicle you do have your bullet style reversing camera, and then you do have full rails that have been put in the back panel when the vehicle was built, which are strengthened points to take a full bike rack, which can be fitted to any Swift model. To drain off your fresh water, whether you've taken on a source of contaminated water, you're not using the van for a while, or you're draining it down for the winter season, remove the cap, drive over the designated point on your site if you're doing it on the site. If you're not, it doesn't matter, it's clean water. Then you'll be able to grab it with two hands and turn, and this is your fresh water drain off point. Remember, if you're travelling back, leave the tanks open slightly. As this tank is flat, it will rock any loose water out of the tanks as you travel with the camber of the road, and then you'll just want to pop your cap back on when you arrive home. So to use your cassette, again using the habitation key, you'll be able to unlock the locker door, push both in to release the door. To remove the cassette, you would lift the orange handle up and slide the cassette out of the vehicle. Once it's out, you can either carry it or you can wheel it to your disposal point. And then to empty, you've got to remove the grey cap, pop that to the side for a moment, start to pour the contents out, and as you're pouring, press the orange button at the back. This allows a bit of air in, stops it glugging, gives it a consistent pour. Pour it out. Once you've poured it out, there's a tap beside the disposal point. Pop a bit of water in, put the cap back on, give it a rinse, tip out again before going in with a cap full of chemicals. So you can use this as a measuring stick. It's 120 ml, or you can put about 120 ml of either green or blue chemical into here, and then it's good to go back into the van. So it just clips back in like so, and then it's good to use. And this will indicate when it's full on the back of the toilet with 3 or 4 green lights or a couple of red lights, depending on how it's set up. So this vehicle is fitted with a external gas barbecue point. So this means you can use your outside cooking for your barbecue, your Kadak, and all. It comes with a little quick release connection, which is this here, so that connects into here, that way on. And then this end, you need some rubber orange gas hose to onto here to your Kadak, a Jubilee clip onto here, a Jubilee clip onto the other end, and you'll be able to just push it in. Once you've pushed it in, you'll be able to turn the gas supply on, which is here, making sure that you've turned your bottle on first, and always turn it off before pushing the collar back to release the quick release connection. Here we have your grey water drain off point. So this is any water that you've put down any plug hole. It goes into a separate holding tank. It will indicate when it's full. If you're on a super pitch, you can leave this open, connect some pipe to it and leave it open to drain off to the gully at the back of the pitch. However, if you're on a standard pitch, normally what you need to do is when you leave the site, you drive the motorhome over the motorhome service point and open the valve. So opening the valve will allow the water to drain off. You want to leave this open when you travel, just so it rocks any loose water out with the camber of the road. Make sure it's fully drained off in the winter to avoid this water from freezing. So this is one of the points, along with your fresh water, that you would need to drain to avoid frost damage. To fill the Ford with fuel, located at the passenger door, you've got your quick and easy filling point. So there's no cap, you just push it in, it's an easy fill, it'll fill with fuel. And then underneath you've got your AdBlue, because it's a Euro 6 compliant engine, it takes AdBlue. It's 22 litres on a Ford, and it does tell you it'll illuminate on the dash when you've got your last 1,000 mile. Your light comes on, a fill up is required, or you can go into the settings and see how much AdBlue is in your tank at any one time. To operate your Swift 12 volt control panel, to turn the vehicle on, you put your master switch here, which is your master power switch, which gives 12 volt if you are not hooked up, or if you are hooked up, you'll get the light from the post to the van, which will mean you are receiving mains to 30 volt, so all 3-pin plugs within the vehicle will work, and mains appliances. This one here is your interior lights, and they all are individually switched around the van. Press here, you can view your levels of your vehicle battery, your leisure battery, your fresh water and your wastewater capacity. Making sure that you unhook the vehicle first to get a true reflection of your batteries, and always make sure that the leisure battery is selected, which is the battery you want to use when you are using the motorhome. However, if you wanted to charge your vehicle battery over the winter, all you need to do is turn it to the vehicle and it will charge the engine battery. But when using it, it's very important that it's on the leisure battery, as this is the auxiliary battery designed to power the motorhome. Turn your pump on here, so make sure you've got enough water on board. Turn your pump on, and then as soon as you open the taps, you'll get a pressurized flow of water. And you do have your tank heaters, so if you're away in the winter and it is going to freeze, pop these on overnight and it'll stop the water from freezing in the tanks below the vehicle. To operate your Truma digital control panel, this here is your on-off button, which you would do a long press on and it'll turn itself completely off, and then press and it'll turn itself on. To enter the menu, as this is on, but you want to get into the menu, you need to press enter. And here you do have a motorhome with a thermometer flashing. This is your interior temperature of the vehicle. So click on here. Off if you are away in the summer and you didn't want any heating, or you can turn it all the way up to 30 degrees, which sets the thermostat. To save the temperature set, press enter and then move along. And this is your water setting. So if you've got water in the boiler, water in the freshwater tanks, you can put your hot water system on. So you've got Eco, which is 40 degrees of heating the 10 litres of water. Hot, which is 60 degrees of heating the 10 litres of water. Or Boost, which is a half an hour setting which turns off the heating and prioritises the water. So for this we'll just say hot, as you want the heating and hot water to run together, whereas on Boost it turns the heating off and prioritises the water. Next you've got your energy source. So you'd use gas if you were wild camping and didn't have any electric on board the vehicle. Mixture 1, which is 750 watts of electric and gas. Mixture 2, which is 1850 watts of electric and gas. You'd use that if you're in the winter, and this will boost the temperature of the vehicle quicker than using just electric for the first 20 minutes or so. AL1, which is 750 watts of electric, and AL2, which is 1850 watts of electric. Use AL2 on most sites throughout the UK. On smaller CL sites and airs, you may have to turn it down to AL1. And then at the end you've got your fan, so you can have that on Eco or High, and that is just a 12 volt fan setting. Eco uses a lot less of the leisure battery. High uses the full fan speed, so you can hear it a little bit more, so you might want to turn it down to Eco when sleeping. Time here, you can so you can put a timer on for the heating to come on and off. Time on the main display panel. And then in the settings, if you scroll all the way down to reset, if you ever get a warning triangle that won't disappear, press reset. It'll say preset, press enter again, and then it'll completely turn the panel off, and you'll have to go in and set the temperature, the water, the energy source and the fan speed again. Anything above the line, so you've got your hot water, your heating on there with a gas flame, hot water's on, you're on 2 kilowatts of electric, as you've got 2 electric symbols lit up, and your fan is on Eco, so it tells you without even going in that your heating system is on. So to operate your Dometic fridge, to turn the fridge on, this is a flush panel, so just put your finger on the power button here and it will turn on, and press the mode button to skip between your sources. But what I would personally do is leave it on automatic. Automatic is an automatic energy selection, and it'll do it all for you. So it'll pick out mains, 230 volt, and always prioritize that first. However, if you weren't hooked up and you had your gas switched on, it would switch over to gas by itself. And then if you started the vehicle's battery, the vehicle's engine, from the vehicle's engine battery, you get a feed on the battery setting. It's not on the leisure battery. It's only on when the vehicle is physically running. So the idea here is that you pre-chill it beforehand at home, put your shopping in the night before. When you drive to your first site, on automatic it'll switch on to battery and it'll act as a giant cool box, keep your shopping nice and fresh until you arrive back on site and either hook up or go on to gas if you're wild camping. Or if you're travelling from one site to another, it'll just keep your shopping nice and fresh, like I've already said. However, on the automatic setting, it does wait 20 minutes before lighting on gas once the vehicle is switched off. This is a safety feature in case you forgot to isolate your gas cylinder. So it will not light for 20 minutes, it will flash and beep. What you need to do here is press mode and just change the source to gas on its own. You can select the source manually, but I would just leave it on automatic to select between battery when travelling and mains. The only time you would need to take this off is to put it on gas if you're wild camping. Temperature here, so 5 being the coldest when pre-chilling. Turn it down once you put your shopping in, because sometimes it can freeze the fridge. And with this fridge you can open the door both ways, depending on if you're getting beers from the front or you're getting stuff to prep your food out, to prep your meals from the back. When not using it, turn it off and leave the door open. There is a little clip here that you can pull out. It's a bit fiddly. Pull that out there. That rests on that little chrome stopper there and stops the fridge door from shutting, which allows air ventilation in and out of the fridge when not in use. So in the kitchen area you do have one electric 240 volt hot plate, so you've got to be hooked up for this to work, and this is this one here. So make sure that is off before you hook the vehicle up, and always ensure that everything's turned off before you put the glass lid down, otherwise you may shatter the glass and it's all went cool enough. Don't put it down if you've just had them on. 3 gas. And then underneath you do have one grill, and one oven. If you need any parts for your Thetford Triplex Plus oven, all the details are here, including the model number of the oven and hob. Storage drawer beneath the oven. Slide out cutlery tray. Space for your sink cover chopping board and some storage at the bottom, along with your cup rack, storage in here, and your plate rack there. And you've got a little bit more above in the kitchen. Above the fridge you've got your solar panel, which is this black box here, which is your MPPT, which charges your leisure battery from the solar panel on the roof. But you do have to be unhooked for that to work, because mains 230 volt does take priority when hooked up, so the solar panel will go to sleep in effect. But that will charge your leisure battery, and there's a little fuse on the bottom, so if that ever doesn't light up for ever what reason, just check the fuse, because sometimes over time the fuse can blow depending on what the solar panel's pulling through, but it should be fine. At the back here you've got your TV booster, which is your Vision Plus amplifier. So there's a little wheel on there which says min and max. You can amplify the signal on your signal booster, and you have a signal finder which is showing green at the moment, so you have a signal. Should that be showing red or orange, you would then start to adjust your telescopic aerial. So there's a nut here. You would unloosen this nut, push the stem up, and use the toggle on the bottom to direct the aerial, which will tilt it from side to side, front to back. And once that gets a signal and changes colour, lock the aerial into place with the nut, and then before you start travelling, undo it and pull the telescopic pole into the van. You need to ensure that the aerial's down before you travel, otherwise the wind could catch the aerial and rip it and damage the aerial through the telescopic pole. So make sure it's down before you do start travelling and locked into place with the nut. Underneath the travelling seat, behind the driver's side of the vehicle, you've got your leisure battery. So you've got your main leisure battery here with your leisure battery main fuse, which is a 40 amp fuse. So you might just want to carry a spare 40 amp fuse with you in case it does blow. This should never blow, but just in case, I'd rather be prepared and have one in the vehicle than not. So that's a 40 amp jumper fuse there, and your main leisure battery. So as Swift have a berth for belts policy, there's 2 hidden travelling seats under the lounge. So if you take all your cushions off, you've got a seat back, and you've got this big black knob here as well. So if you pull that back, you'll be able to pull the seat back rest up. You've got 2 of these hard backed. They go like that and clip onto the frame and fill the space. And then you need to use the base cushion onto there, and it velcros on, and the backrest onto here. And there you have one forward facing travelling seat, and you've got 2, one on each side of the van. And on the footwell, just pull that board in, and then you'll be able to sit on the seat and have a forward facing travelling seat. They also are Isofix, so if you're travelling with children or grandchildren, their car seats will be able to clip straight onto the Isofix points, which are bolted into the chassis, so they're all crash tested and safe for children's car seats. So to make the front lounge into a bed, using the drop down switch here, you'll be able to bring the table down. Table stops in its lowest position. Then you would pull the tabletop support out, and you want to make sure that the table is as far across here as possible. So push it up, butt it up, turn it over, lift these cushions up. There's 2 stoppers, which is where the table is held on this side of the seat. And then all you need to do is pull your base cushions forward. So base cushions forward. These 2 backrests would drop in. And then base cushions forward again on this side. This has a little secret pull-out compartment with a leg, which helps keep this base cushion secure. And then that would go at the back there as well. So make sure it's all nice and flush. Like that. And there you have your double bed. So located just beside your lounge, if you pull this forward, this is your Sergeant power supply unit, which is the AC400. So you do have all your 12 volt fuses here, which run your 12 volt items off your leisure battery, which are all listed here. So do carry some spare blade fuses with you, just in case a fuse does blow. You'll notice as well, you'll get a red light underneath the fuse to show that it's blown and it needs replacing. You've got this black button here, which is a system shutdown button, so if you're storing the vehicle you can turn that off. That is like a main 12 volt battery isolation switch, but it does stop the solar panel from charging the leisure battery. So if there is a solar panel fitted, which there is, you want to ensure that this is turned on. This side you do have your trips, so you've got your main RCD and your MCB. So if you think you're not receiving power, try tripping the van first. If you've tripped the van, look here before you look at your sight, as you may have tripped the motorhome and not the sight, or you may have done it the other way around. And when hooked up, these will light up, so you've got your charger, which lights up green, which charges your leisure battery when hooked up, and you've got your heating and hot water. This needs to be on, so just leave it pushed in, and this will allow the 240 volt side of the things to run the heating and hot water. When storing it with no water in, you might want to turn this off. So at the back of this model, which is the 584, you do have your twin single beds with centre storage in your steps. Slide out drawers on either side, but do just make sure you're pushing the catches in before you travel, as this secures it for travelling. Your wardrobe, you've got a light, your boiler's in the bottom there, we'll get to that in a moment about draining your boiler down for the winter. You've got all your safety notices on there from Swift. And you've got your large wardrobe here with slide out rail for hanging space. Coming to the back, you do have your bedroom light, 2 USBs, a mains 240 volt socket. When you hooked up this will work, and you do have 2 individual reading lights on either side above the headboard of either bed. And if you did want a telly fitted into the bedroom area, there is space here, so it's pre-wired for an aerial 12 volt 240 volt socket, and again you've got your dimmer switch for your lights on this side as well, so it'll work on either side. If I was getting a telly though, I can't recommend a 12 volt telly enough, because this will work when wild camping as well as being on a site, whereas your 240 tellies will only work when the vehicle is connected to mains hookup. So to operate the toilet, make sure the pump's on and press the blue button at the back, which will give you a freshwater flush. So if you press the button, put a small amount of water in the toilet first, which helps lubricate the seal between the toilet and the cassette. And then you want to open this grey lever here to the right, which is known as the blade. Use the toilet, flush it after use. If you've got any pink chemical, the pink chemical can't go in any header tank or any water system on this vehicle, as it's a freshwater fed. It's different to a caravan and other motorhomes. So what you can do is get so much pink in an empty spray bottle, dilute it with water, use it as a bowl cleaner, so spray the bowl like it's intended to, flush, and then once you've finished, just close the blade. Closing the blade will mean that when the cassette indicates it's full, under here, you can slide the cassette out the side of the van and empty it without trying to get the cassette out and it not coming out. When the cassette doesn't come out, it means that the blade isn't closed fully, because the mechanism on the bottom of the toilet is still holding the cassette in place. On the other side of the washroom, you do have your shower cubicle. So it is plastic lined, so do just be careful with what you clean the plastic tray and the side walls out with. No bleach, no harsh scourers, just light products such as Fairy Up Liquid, Dettol spray, no harsh cleaning products, because you will discolour the finish of the plastic. And make sure when you travel, you've got your shower screen pinned back and you've put the pin in, which is here. So that just push the screen back and push this in. It will stop this then moving. And make sure when you want to use it, you've pulled the pin back. You've slid that along, and then this little clip goes over the centre to keep it all in place if you were to travel with it shut. So you can travel with it in 2 positions. Just that does hold the shower screen back when not in use or when travelling. It's up to you. You've also got a hanging rail here, so this is great for putting wet towels on, but it's also great for if you've been caught in walking the dog in the rain or out on a walk. You can put a few hangers on there and hang your wet clothing, and it'll drip into the shower screen and the shower tray without causing too much mess. On this model, the bottom of the door has a magnet on it, so it isn't stuck. You've just got to give it a good pull as it's magnetic onto here, so it can be pinned back like so. But when travelling, have the door shut. This is showing that your hand basin tap is working and the water is warm there. Your kitchen tap is working as its pressurised flow of water on hot and cold, and that is starting to get warm. Make sure that when you are winterising the van, to stop the water sitting in the pipe, because if you fill this shower open, the water sits in this pipe. So to avoid any of this and water sitting in the head, remove the head from the hose and lie this hose down in the shower tray, and it'll stop any water from sitting and potentially freezing in this pipe when winterising it over the colder months, from anywhere from end of October, start of November to March. So it's very important to drain off your boiler system in the winter when we're experiencing colder temperatures, as this will avoid the water from freezing and causing any damage, which will void any warranties. So what you need to do is, from the outside first, you want to drain off your fresh and your waste water. Then you want to come in and you want to lift this yellow toggle. So this is your drain down toggle. So this needs to lift up into the up position. Do it without the pump on, because the pump's kicking in there. Do it without the pump on, so don't put the control panel on. Lift that yellow toggle there into the up position, so it's sticking up on end. And then open all the taps within the van. So remove the shower head from the shower hose, lie that in the shower tray, kitchen tap open, hand basin tap open. Turn the panel on, turn your pump on, and give it 10 seconds just to pump any water that's left in any pipes out of the van and out of the taps. Once this is done, the system is completely drained. Turn off the 12-volt panel. When you're ready to reuse the van, you want to close your fresh and your wastewater taps on the outside the van. Lie this down in the position it's in now, which is your boiler drain, into the closed position. Assemble all the shower head, shut the taps, fill the van with water. Once you've got water on board, you can come on, put the control panel on, put the pump on. Go to the cold side of the tap first on the tap. Do them individually, one at a time. You'll get a pressurised flow of cold water. As soon as you select hot or start a mix on the mixer taps, the water with the hot side of the tap, it will cough, splutter and make all sorts of noises, as this is pushing the air out of the boiler and it's pushing the cold water from the tank into the boiler until you get a pressurised flow of water. Once this is done, do all the other taps and then the system is primed for the season.